Throughout history, humanity has created weapons and experiments more terrifying than most people could ever imagine. But the scariest part isn't what these weapons were designed to do. It's the moments when everything went wrong. From nuclear bombs lost beneath the ocean, to a weapon that almost detonated over American soil, to a submarine that vanished into the darkness with 99 men, never to return. These are the real stories hidden behind the Cold War's darkest secrets. And the terrifying truth is, the world came closer to disaster than most people will ever know. Imagine waking up one day and finding out that one of the most dangerous weapons ever created by humanity was missing. Not stolen, not destroyed, just gone. Somewhere on Earth was a nuclear weapon powerful enough to wipe out a city, and for a moment in history, nobody knew where it was. During the Cold War, the world lived under the terrifying shadow of nuclear war. The United States and the Soviet Union were constantly preparing for a conflict that could have ended civilization as we knew it. Thousands of nuclear weapons were built. They were stored in underground facilities, placed on military bases, loaded onto submarines, and carried through the skies by bombers, ready to strike at a moment's notice. But there was one thing nobody could completely control: the people operating them. Because sometimes the greatest danger wasn't an enemy attack. It was a mistake. The military had a name for these terrifying accidents. They called them broken arrows. It sounds like a harmless name, but the reality behind it was anything but. These were moments when nuclear weapons were accidentally dropped, damaged, or lost. And some of them created situations that could have changed history forever. One of the most frightening examples happened on January 17, 1966. A U.S. Air Force B-52 bomber was flying over the coast of Spain while carrying 4 nuclear weapons. At the time, these flights were part of America's constant nuclear readiness. Bombers carrying these weapons were kept in the air because military leaders feared that an enemy could launch an attack without warning. The mission seemed routine until something went terribly wrong. Thousands of feet above the ground, the bomber attempted to refuel in midair. Then suddenly, the 2 aircraft collided. In a matter of seconds, the sky turned into chaos. The bomber broke apart, sending debris and nuclear weapons falling toward the ground. 7 crew members were killed, and 4 nuclear bombs disappeared into the wreckage. 2 of those weapons crashed near a small Spanish fishing village called Palomares. Their outer explosives detonated on impact, spreading radioactive material across the surrounding area. But there was one major problem. One of the bombs was missing. Somewhere beneath the Mediterranean Sea was a nuclear weapon capable of causing unimaginable destruction. And nobody knew where it was. For nearly 3 months, the search continued. Military ships filled the ocean. Divers searched dangerous waters. Aircraft scanned from above. Thousands of people were involved in a desperate mission to find one missing bomb before it was too late. Think about that for a moment. A weapon designed to destroy cities was sitting somewhere beneath the ocean, hidden from everyone. After weeks of searching, the bomb was finally discovered deep underwater. The world avoided a disaster, but the incident revealed something terrifying. Even the most advanced military in the world could lose track of its own nuclear weapons. And this was not the only time it happened. During the Cold War, there were dozens of other nuclear accidents. Planes crashed, weapons were damaged, missiles failed, and some disappeared forever. One of the most chilling cases happened near the coast of Georgia in 1958. A U.S. Air Force bomber carrying a nuclear weapon was involved in an accident during a training mission. The aircraft was in danger of crashing, and to prevent something worse from happening, the weapon was released and dropped into the waters near Tybee Island. The military immediately began searching. They looked underwater. They searched the surrounding area. They spent months trying to locate the missing weapon, but they failed. The bomb was never recovered. Somewhere beneath the ocean, hidden below the waves, is believed to be a nuclear weapon that has been missing for more than 60 years. A weapon created during one of the most dangerous periods in human history. Now sitting silently where nobody can reach it, And these stories raise a terrifying question. How many times did the world come dangerously close to disaster without ever knowing? Because during the Cold War, humanity wasn't just facing the possibility of war, it was also facing the possibility of accidents. A broken system, a mechanical failure, one wrong decision. That's all it could take. For decades, many of these incidents remained hidden from the public. While people around the world went to work, raised families, and lived their normal lives, some of the most powerful weapons ever created were involved in accidents that could have changed everything. And maybe the most disturbing part is this. Nuclear weapons don't need an enemy to become dangerous. They don't need a war. Sometimes, all they need is one mistake. Because the scariest weapons on Earth are not just the ones that can destroy the world. They're the ones that can disappear and leave everyone wondering, where are they now? Imagine a normal night in America. Families sleeping, people driving home, everyone completely unaware that one mistake in the sky could have changed the country forever. Because on one cold night in 1961, a U.S. Air Force bomber broke apart above North Carolina, and 2 nuclear weapons came crashing toward the ground. But one of those bombs came dangerously close to detonating, so close that a single small safety switch may have been the only thing that stopped history from changing forever. During the Cold War, the United States kept nuclear bombers in the sky around the clock. The mission was simple. If an enemy launched a nuclear attack, these aircraft would be ready to respond immediately. But keeping these weapons airborne came with a terrifying risk: accidents. And on January 24th, 1961, one of the most frightening nuclear accidents in American history happened near Goldsboro, North Carolina. A B-52 bomber was flying through the night, carrying 2 Mark 39 hydrogen bombs. Each weapon was thousands of times more powerful than the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The crew had no idea that their mission was about to become a nightmare. While flying over North Carolina, the aircraft suddenly developed a massive fuel leak. The bomber began losing control. The pilots fought to save the plane, but the damage was too severe. The aircraft started breaking apart. The crew was forced to eject. Moments later, the bomber exploded in the sky, and 2 nuclear weapons fell toward the ground. One landed in a field near the small town of Faro. The other fell nearby. Then something terrifying happened. One of the bombs began the process that could have led to a nuclear explosion. Its parachute deployed. Several safety systems failed. The weapon was damaged. And according to later investigations, multiple steps in the arming process actually activated. The bomb was incredibly close to detonating, but it didn't. A single safety device called a low-voltage switch remained in the safe position. That tiny component may have prevented a nuclear explosion that could have devastated a huge area of the United States. After the accident, the military recovered the weapon, but there was a problem. Part of the bomb had buried itself deep underground. A section containing nuclear material was never fully recovered. The U.S. government purchased the land around the area to prevent anyone from digging there. For decades, the story remained mostly unknown. Most Americans had no idea that a nuclear weapon had nearly exploded over their own country. And Goldsboro was not an isolated incident. During the Cold War, the world was filled with nuclear weapons being transported through the air, across oceans, and through military bases. Every mission carried the possibility of disaster: a mechanical failure, a human mistake, one broken part, and the consequences could have been unimaginable. The most frightening part about the Goldsboro accident is not that the bomb almost exploded, it's how close it came. Because sometimes history isn't changed by a heroic decision. Sometimes, the world survives because one small piece of technology does exactly what it was supposed to do. And on that night, in 1961, a tiny safety switch may have been the only thing standing between humanity and a nuclear nightmare. This last story comes from inside a massive nuclear submarine thousands of feet below the surface of the ocean, surrounded by nothing but darkness, no sunlight, no way to escape quickly, and then suddenly, something goes terribly wrong. The submarine disappears, no warning, no survivors, and for decades, investigators have searched for answers about what really happened beneath the waves. This is the story of the USS Scorpion, a nuclear-powered submarine belonging to the United States Navy that disappeared during one of the most dangerous periods in modern history, the Cold War. In 1968, tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union were at their highest. Both countries were watching each other closely. Both sides had submarines, hidden beneath the ocean, carrying weapons capable of devastating destruction. These submarines were designed to remain hidden, silent, almost impossible to find. But on May 22, 1968, the USS Scorpion was heading back to the United States after completing a mission in the Mediterranean Sea. There were 99 men aboard, experienced sailors, fathers, husbands, brothers. They were expected to return home, but they never did. As the submarine traveled through the Atlantic Ocean, something happened deep beneath the surface. The Scorpion disappeared. At first, officials hoped the submarine had experienced some type of communication failure. Maybe a mechanical issue, maybe a problem with its equipment, but hours turned into days, and the submarine was nowhere to be found. The Navy launched one of the largest searches in history. Ships searched the ocean, aircraft scanned the waves, underwater listening systems searched for any sign of the missing submarine. Then, the evidence appeared. A mysterious underwater sound had been recorded near the submarine's last known location. The search eventually led investigators to a shocking discovery. The USS Scorpion was found more than 9,000 feet beneath the Atlantic Ocean. The submarine had been destroyed. The entire crew was gone. But the biggest question remained. What caused it? The official explanation suggested that a mechanical failure may have caused a torpedo accident inside the submarine. But over the years, other theories appeared. Some believed the submarine may have been involved in a confrontation with Soviet forces. Others questioned whether classified information was hidden from the public. Because during the Cold War, the ocean was a battlefield, a place where countries watched each other in secret, and many missions were never fully revealed. Even today, the wreck of the USS Scorpion remains on the ocean floor, a silent reminder of the dangers faced by those who lived beneath the waves. But what makes this story so disturbing is imagining what happened in those final moments. A submarine trapped thousands of feet below the surface. No escape, no rescue coming, just darkness surrounding them. The ocean is one of the most unexplored places on Earth. And somewhere deep beneath the Atlantic, a nuclear submarine rests in silence, a Cold War mystery locked away forever. Because some secrets aren't buried underground, they're buried beneath miles of ocean.